Tonight, the United States Senate made a move that is sending shockwaves through Washington and beyond. Lawmakers are pushing to create a National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk, a figure loved by millions and criticized by many. Supporters call it a bold stand against political violence. Critics say it crosses a dangerous line. What does this mean for our politics, our freedoms, and the way America chooses to remember its leaders? Stay with me because the story behind this vote is bigger than one name. In this video, we break down everything you need to know about the Senate's surprising resolution to honor Charlie Kirk with a National Day of Remembrance. We will look at what the resolution actually does, why it moved so fast, and why it is sparking fierce debate on both sides of the aisle. You will hear how supporters see it as a message of unity, and why critics warn it could politicize the very idea of national remembrance. By the end of this video, you will have a clear view of the facts, the arguments, and what this decision could mean for future commemorations in the United States. The United States Senate has taken a step that is drawing nationwide attention. Lawmakers introduced and advanced a resolution to designate October 14 as the National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk. The measure is symbolic, not a federal holiday, but it carries political weight. It asks Americans and government agencies to pause on that date and reflect on Kirk's life, his civic work, and the national conversation sparked by his death. Supporters call the move a tribute to civic engagement and a response to political violence. Critics warn that the vote blurs the line between national remembrance and partisan recognition. Charlie Kirk became a prominent figure in American politics as the founder of Turning Point USA, a group that focuses on conservative outreach among young voters. Over the past decade, he built a large following on college campuses, in conservative media, and online. His rallies and speeches often drew passionate support and sharp criticism. Earlier this month, he was killed during a campus event in Utah. Investigators arrested the suspect, and prosecutors announced plans to seek the death penalty. The sudden loss of a high-profile activist shocked supporters and opponents alike, creating a wave of tributes, arguments, and demands for action. The Senate resolution arrived only days after the killing. Senator Rick Scott of Florida introduced the measure with backing from several Republican colleagues. The resolution calls on Americans to honor Kirk's legacy of political engagement and to condemn violence against public figures. It passed quickly, reflecting a sense of urgency among lawmakers who wanted to send a message against political violence. The vote does not create a new national holiday or require government offices to close. Like many commemorative resolutions, it is purely symbolic. Still, symbolism in Washington carries power. A successful vote can shape public memory and signal unity, even when deeper disagreements remain. Supporters of the resolution describe it as a straightforward act of respect. They argue that a young political organizer was murdered while exercising free speech, and that Congress has a responsibility to condemn such violence. For them, the date offers an annual reminder that debate must remain peaceful. Lawmakers who back the measure highlight Kirk's ability to mobilize students and spark political conversation. They point to his speeches, his outreach to first-time voters, and his ability to draw young people into civic life as reasons to honor his birthday with a National Day of Remembrance. Critics see the situation differently. Some senators and commentators caution that Congress is setting a troubling precedent by designating a day of remembrance for a partisan activist so soon after his death. They warn that commemorations of recent political figures risk becoming tools for party branding rather than neutral reflections of shared values. Editorials in several major newspapers question whether such honors should be reserved for historical figures whose impact has stood the test of time. Opponents also argue that Congress can condemn political violence and promote civic engagement without naming specific individuals who remain polarizing to large segments of the public. The debate is not only about Charlie Kirk. It is also about the broader question of how a democracy chooses whom to honor. Congress passes many symbolic resolutions each year, but most focus on historical events, cultural contributions, or nonpartisan causes. A resolution tied to a living movement introduces a new dynamic. Future majorities could use commemorations to reward allies or score political points. Critics warn that the practice could turn national remembrance into an extension of campaign politics. Supporters counter that the danger of political violence requires strong statements, and that refusing to act could be seen as indifference. The timing of the resolution adds to the controversy. The killing of a public figure is a national tragedy. Emotions are high, and lawmakers often face pressure to respond quickly. Moving fast can show solidarity, but it can also limit debate and create long-term consequences. Some senators privately expressed concern about rushing the vote. They worried that the chamber might appear to endorse not only the principle of nonviolence, but also the political program of the person being honored. Yet few wanted to be seen as opposing a resolution framed as a stand against violence. Outside the Senate chamber, the public reaction has been intense and divided. Conservative outlets and political figures praise the resolution as a fitting tribute. They highlight Kirk's influence among young conservatives and his role in shaping national debates on free speech and campus politics. Social media feeds from supporters feature tributes, quotes, and calls to participate in the Day of Remembrance. Progressive commentators and many independent voices respond with skepticism. They argue that Congress should focus on preventing violence through policy rather than symbolic gestures. And they question whether honoring a partisan figure will unite or divide the country. The story also connects to a larger pattern of concern about threats to public officials. In recent years, the United States has witnessed rising numbers of threats and attacks on politicians, activists, and election workers. Security at public events is now a major challenge. Lawmakers on both sides use the debate over the resolution to call for better protection of speakers and audiences. Some urged a broader national conversation about political rhetoric and the need to lower the temperature of public discourse. Supporters of the resolution say that naming a day of remembrance sends a clear message that violence will not silence free speech. Legal experts note that the resolution carries no force of law. It does not require funding, new programs, or any specific action by federal agencies. It is a statement of sentiment. Yet such statements can influence culture. A recognized day of remembrance can shape school curricula, community events, and future legislation. Historians point out that many now familiar observances began as simple congressional resolutions before becoming part of the national calendar. Whether this new day becomes widely observed will depend on how citizens, schools, and local governments choose to respond. To understand the significance of this debate, it helps to look at past examples. Congress has designated days to honor civil rights leaders, military veterans, and victims of terrorism. Those resolutions often gained bipartisan support after years of advocacy. In contrast, the Kirk resolution emerged within days of a high-profile killing and focused on a figure who is still actively shaping partisan politics. That difference fuels concerns that the process was more about immediate political messaging than long-term historical judgment. The controversy highlights the power of symbolism in modern politics. A single vote, even one with no legal effect, can dominate headlines, shape public opinion, and influence future elections. For supporters, the resolution offers a chance to reaffirm values of free speech and civic participation. For opponents, it raises alarms about politicizing national remembrance. Both sides recognize that the decision sets an example for how Congress might respond to future tragedies involving public figures. As this story unfolds, several questions remain. Will the House of Representatives follow the Senate's lead and pass a companion resolution? Will the Day of Remembrance gain widespread participation across the country, or will it remain a largely symbolic gesture? Will future majorities use similar measures to honor other partisan figures, deepening political divides? These questions ensure that the debate over this resolution will continue long after the initial vote. For viewers, the key takeaway is that the Senate's action is more than a simple tribute. It reflects a struggle over how a nation remembers, how it condemns violence, and how it balances symbolism with substance. The National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk, if it becomes a regular observance, will stand as a case study in how political conflict and public memory interact in real time. Whether one agrees with the decision or not, it offers a moment to reflect on the responsibilities of citizens, the dangers of political violence, and the importance of keeping public debate peaceful. As you watch this story develop, consider what national remembrance should mean in a democracy. Should Congress act quickly to honor individuals when tragedy strikes? Or should it reserve such recognition for figures whose impact is judged over decades? Should commemorations be strictly nonpartisan, or can they reflect the political passions of the present? Your answers to these questions will shape how you view this resolution and the next one that comes before the Senate. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit the like button to let us know. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, so you never miss an update on stories that shape our country. Your support helps us keep delivering clear, fact-driven analysis on the issues that matter. Share this video with a friend and join the conversation in the comments below. What do you think about the Senate's decision? Should Congress honor a figure like Charlie Kirk with a National Day of Remembrance? Your voice matters.